Hello everyone and welcome to Kabbalah Explained Simply. The topic today is the game of life according to Kabbalah. My name is Lio Spiegler. I'm very happy to be here. It seems as if I was only here yesterday, but apparently it's been 5 weeks. So I'm very excited to talk about this topic. We're live on Facebook, live on YouTube. You can get this program now. You can also find it recorded later. We're going to talk about a lot of interesting things like, is this life a game? Is it a simulation? If so, how can we tell? How can we get out of it? How can we rise to the next level? We'll talk all about those very interesting topics and how they're related to Kabbalah and to Kabbalists. And I'll also tell you about the special that we have today. For a short period of time, I didn't get an end date, but it is going to be for a limited period of time. It's going to be a special on all the Kabbalah courses and learning path. I'll tell you more about it towards the end of our program. So stick around if you want to subscribe, if you want to learn what it means to be a Kabbalist, what is this wisdom all about, then this is the path for you. I'll tell you all about it. So let me get right into it. We have mosquitoes here. So, is this really a game, a simulation, or is it something else that is happening here? As the song goes, is this the real world? Is this just fantasy? That's a question everybody's asking. Not everyone has an answer, but today we'll try to, sorry about that, mosquitoes. We'll try to really get to the heart of this question. Let's start with a little exercise. I love to do little exercises. So this picture, take a quick look at this picture. Where do you think this was taken? When? At what time? What date? Any information on this picture will be appreciated. Put it in the chat. I'm interested to see what you guys think. Where was this picture taken? Where on earth was it taken? If you can recognize anyone in it, great. Date, time of day. Well, I'll give you a minute to think about it. And I'll just say that we have gotten very good at creating simulations of many, many things in this life. And so it's no wonder that this picture was actually not taken anywhere, because it's a screenshot from a game called Grand Theft Auto 5, GTA 5. It's an elaborate picture, and you can see that we've gotten pretty good at creating these simulations, very immersive simulations, and it's getting easier and easier to fool our minds. So the question is, who's to say we're not already living in a simulation? It's a good question. If you think about it, the better these computer-generated simulations get, the harder it will be for us to tell that this is a simulation. Obviously, our senses are telling us that we're living outside of this simulation, but what if our senses were also hooked up into this hyper-real interface? Shakespeare had a suspicion about 400 years ago. He said, all the world's a stage and all the men and women are merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. That was Shakespeare, but rest assured he wasn't the first. In fact, some 2,500 years before Shakespeare, King David said, we were as those who dreamt. And he was speaking about people who discover the upper world. And they discovered that they were as those who dreamt. So that's from 3,000 years ago. So are we living in a simulation? These are a few shots from the film The Matrix. It came out in 1999. Maybe some of you are too young to know. That's okay. I'll give you a quick preview of that. The film blew people's minds because it looked amazing, had a lot of great effects and all that. But I suspect it blew people's minds because it actually touched on a real feeling that there's something beyond this world, something beyond what we can see with our senses. And that's really what made this film stand out, because it really touched on a real sensation and it gave it life, it gave it a voice. So this scene, which unfortunately I cannot play for you, but you can find it on YouTube if you look for Neo, who's the name of the protagonist here, played by Keanu Reeves. You can search for Neo finds out about the simulation, and you will see that Neo is hooked up to a machine here, and they tell him, listen, try to relax, this will feel a little weird. And sure enough, they plug him in. He has like a special outlet, sensory outlet in the back of his neck, and everything gets a little weird, and then he just wakes up from this grungy looking backdrop of that little weird vehicle they're in, and all the people around him, and him having no hair and wearing these grungy clothes. He wakes up in this white, pristine setting, right? And it's him and Morpheus. That's the other guy in the frame, and he's telling him, Morpheus is telling him, listen, right now we're inside a computer program, and it is the mental projection of your digital self. And he proceeds to sit him down in this little living room setting and shows him a little film about life in real life in the world. That's the life that Neo doesn't know about. That's the life that used to be on Earth, like our life. At some point, AI became very powerful, and AI and humans went at it, and humans tried to scorch the atmosphere to rob the AI of its source of energy. Long story short, the AI wins. It wins, it takes over, and they end up in this strange place where people are having a real living experience. They experience life as we know it today. The whole film is full of these shots of people walking the streets of New York, and Neo walks among them, and it feels very real. But Morpheus asks him, what is real? How do you define real? I'm reading from here. If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain. And then he tells him the Matrix is a computer-generated dream world built to keep us under control in order to change a human being into, sorry, there's a typo there, into a battery. He shows him a picture of a Duracell battery, which is what the AI ends up doing with humans. They put them in little pods and they harvest the energy that the human body makes. And they don't live the protein life that we associate with this, with our life, but actually a virtual reality of sorts, a very, very real looking, real sensing simulation. So the question is, the big question is, who's to say that you're not asleep in a pod dreaming this entire reality right now? Dreaming this lecture, Kabbalah Explained Simply, given by Lio, and you're at home somewhere and you're sitting. How could you tell? And your body is maybe in this pod, or maybe you don't even have a protein body. In the film, The Matrix, they go to great lengths to wake people up and take their protein bodies, and then they're waging war on the machines. But what if you don't even have the protein body that you associate with your being, right? Maybe you are only experiencing reality through some interface. What could this interface be? We'll get to that later. We'll read some great information from the Kabbalists. I'm very excited about this because this is the feeling that I also had for many years as I was looking, searching for answers. The feeling was always that there's something there, there's something else that we're not being shown, we're not being told, and not by some conspiracy theory, not by some secret organization, but by our own selves. Something inside of us is preventing us from seeing that this is some sort of a, perhaps, simulation. Perhaps. But we're not there yet. We're still trying to discern, is this a simulation? Is this what this is all about? So Do we live in a simulation? Chances are about 50-50. This is a great article from last year. Astronomer David Kipping from Columbia University said that there's a 50-50 chance that we live in a simulation. There were a few other questions involved with it, and the science is complex. It talks about probabilities, but it comes down to one aspect of the simulation that is built into the simulation, and it would be a telltale sign that we in fact exist in a simulation. Okay, and now I'm speaking about it from the point of view of science. The average person, well, not the average person, your average scientist, okay, mathematician, computer scientist, astronomer, people with some understanding of these capabilities. And they looked at this question long and hard. I've been actually thinking about it for the last 20 years. And they're trying to think, what would be the thing that will define the simulation as a simulation? How can we prove we exist in a simulation? If the simulation is so good, how can you tell? So they came up with this concept. It's not unique to the simulation, but it's called artifact. Okay, not artifact in the sense of, oh, this is, you know, an artifact, an object. No, an artifact is something that exists in a computer software, okay, in a simulation for that matter. And it doesn't matter if it's simple or complex, there will always be an artifact that serves as a limit to the processor speed of the simulation. Now this gets a little technical, so bear with me, but we'll go through it quickly and hopefully clearly. There's something about the simulation that is sort of the limit of what the simulation can do. Okay, if you think about it, there's the world around you and there's what you see around you, and it all looks very nice and real. I can touch, you know, hit a wall, hit a table, it looks very solid, continuous, it's all around me. But who's to say that right now in the next room or a few rooms down, the simulation has stopped rendering that world for me, okay? Because I don't see it, I don't interact with it, I don't have any perception of it. So the system can just conserve energy and just render this room I'm in, okay? Only this room. So for me, this reality seems very real. But if someone were to observe me from outside the simulation, they would see that I'm in a simulation. I'm in this incomplete picture of reality, kind of like this portrait around me, above me. Okay, he's almost complete. Imagine there would be like the skin, everything, but there would be nothing behind, nothing inside, unless of course I went inside, and then the simulation would render that. Okay, so the simulation can react to my actions in the system, in the simulation, and present to me a seamless, smooth reality. Okay, that's what they were hypothesizing. And they said, now again, this gets a little technical, but I'll help you, I'll highlight a few things. They talk about this artifact, right? This construct that exists in the system inherently. They cannot measure it from within the system, but they can tell that it's there. It's a little bit like dark matter, if you're familiar with it, right? Astronomers were looking at the world and saw that there was something pushing galaxies apart. They said, well, there's got to be something here. We can't see it, can't measure it. We're going to call it dark matter. But we know it has to be there. It's an artifact of the system. So in this way, they say the artifact is an additional component of every operation that is unaffected by the magnitude of the variables being operated upon and is irrelevant within the simulated reality until a maximum a lot of technical jargon. The artifact presents itself in the simulated world as an upper limit. It cannot be explained by underlying mechanistic laws of the system, and the effects are absolute. In fact, let me highlight for you some things here. Oh, okay. They didn't get highlighted. So let me point your attention to the things that are important, okay? And they're important because we're talking about Kabbalah, and I want to make the connection between what science is discovering today and what Kabbalists have been talking about and describing for millennia, okay, as far back as King David, another great Kabbalist. So the important things for us here in this long text is that the artifact presents itself in the simulated world as an upper limit. Okay, we have an upper limit of sorts that we cannot get past. All right. It cannot be explained by the laws of the system. It's sort of a given quality above the operating laws of the system, and the effect of the artifact is absolute, no exceptions. Okay, so there's something like that that is sort of a limit to my ability to perceive the system. Okay, it's sort of a limit. It's something that I cannot go beyond. I cannot sort of measure anything, perceive anything beyond that. Okay, does it ring a bell? Anything comes to mind when you think about those terms? Let's see, let me see in the chat here if something rings a bell. Hold on. Okay, I'll give you a hint. The artifact is light, okay? Astronomical light in our corporeal reality, but light, or the creator in the spiritual reality. Okay, so again, within the limits of this world, the speed of light is our top limit. Okay, this is the limit of our perception. Okay, it's how fast we can go. We cannot go faster than the speed of light. Okay, this is sort of the barrier of the simulation. Okay, so if you think about it, I can be here and I can talk to you, and everything is happening around us. We are communicating to each other at the speed of light. That's how fast information flows between us. We seem to have a smooth, seamless experience. If I go outside, the outside room exists. Everything exists as long as I'm traveling within the limits of the speed of light. But as someone was pointing out to Neil deGrasse Tyson, the head of the planetarium in New York, and a great astronomer, you may have seen him in Cosmos and other places, he's a great physicist. They said, well, all the galaxies that we're trying to get to, all our neighboring galaxies, the closest neighboring galaxy is light years away. Why? Because that's how long it would take the system to render that part of the simulation of the game. Okay, it's so immense and vast and detailed, they would need a lot of time to render that part in the system. Okay, I hope that analogy is clear. If you're not an astronomy geek, I apologize, we'll find better ones. But that's kind of what the artifact means, that there's some sort of a limit. Now, how is this all connected to Kabbalah? This is what we want to see. So, here's a great quote from Baal Sulam, from TES, the study of the 10 Sfirot, or TES is actually an acronym for the Hebrew Talmud Eser Sfirot, the study of the 10 Sfirot. So, it is written, I, the Lord, do not change. Absolute. We are not discussing his self, but only the light that expands from him. However, because there is no change and incident and motion in his self, and he is in complete and utter rest, so must be the light that expands from him, as long as it does not reach the emanated beings, meaning as long as it did not clothe the vessels. So the effects of the light are absolute. I wanna try and do something here. Yeah, you can see this, right? So if you can imagine, I want to make this little drawing here. So this would be the creator, right? Somewhere here, and I'm sorry, actually, let's make it like that. Creator, up here, Ein Sof, infinity. Okay, creator. Okay, and he created the 5 worlds that we have different ways of depicting. Okay, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, they're called Adam Kadmon, Atzilut, Bria, Yetzirah, I see that I'm in the way. I'll write it here. Sorry, Adam Kadmon. Here, be easy. Atzilut, Bria, Yetzirah, Asiya. So this is the system. This This is the simulation the Creator has created. He is operating on this system using, using absolute laws that go through all the layers of the system. And they work on the parts of the system. And we are here, somewhere here at the bottom part of the system. Let's make us here. I live here, my world, in this nice little matrix. And I'm living only here. I'm moving, here and there. I go about my day. I do things. I'm kind of oblivious to the fact that I live in this entire system. And this entire system, all of this system is all around me. And there is actually a force up here operating that had some plans, maybe had something to do with the system and had some purpose for creating this system. And that my goal, unbeknownst to me, is that I have to get from where I am right now all the way up to the Creator. I need to get in touch with Him. Well, again, I don't need to. This is why the Creator created the system. Kabbalists tell us about it. We're not born with this knowledge innately, but it's certainly something that we have, and that we have from Kabbalists, that explanation of what is the reason for our being here, what is the purpose of this whole experience, and that is to get in touch with the Creator. The Creator created this world, created this simulation, if you will, in order to allow men to advance, to go up the degrees, 125 degrees, 5 worlds times 5 times 5, until we get to complete contact with the Creator, revelation of the Creator. That's what we're talking about here. And let's see. This is from Dr. Lightman's, another quote that will help us. There's a special force in our reality called light. Okay? This is a force. This is not astronomical light. Astronomical light is the branch, the corporeal branch of this spiritual root. It's a force. This force is concealed and you cannot feel it. But if you study the wisdom of Kabbalah, then you will be able to awaken this light and it will start working on you. What does it mean to study the wisdom of Kabbalah? Well, there are people who have already attained the Creator. Equivalence of properties with Him. Equivalence of properties with Him. Remember that term if you're not familiar with it already, because this is the key to everything. Equivalence of properties with Him, and described the various states of existence, which they have uncovered in their relationship with the upper force in the upper world. Okay, so the people who have already attained the Creator through this equivalence of form, they tell us about it. In Kabbalah, the upper light is also the limit of our perception. Let me go back to our drawing here for a second. We are under, let me try to do, hold on, this, maybe green, okay, take some green. We are under a barrier, okay? This barrier is called Parsa. Some of you may have heard that name. Parsa. Also in Hebrew we call it Machsom. Machsom, which simply means barrier. It means that the spiritual world is locked behind this upper limit. So within this level, this tiny place where we exist, okay, the bottom of the world of Asiya, okay, I can't see it, I'm sorry. The bottom of the world of Asiya, we exist here. We can move in this area, okay? We can feel a desire. We can have smaller desires. Some people have smaller desires. Some people have greater desires. I can get more or less, up and down, but it's all within this area here. We're not breaking through. We're not getting into contact with the actual upper light. The light works on us. The forces work from above down, but from below up, there's no awakening. We're like animals existing in this world, being operated on by through our desires. And the limit here is the will to receive. This is the realm of the will to receive in its uncorrected form. Uncorrected will to receive. If I want to go break through this barrier into the spiritual world, this is spiritual, spirit. I need to change something about my desire. I need to acquire a new intention. Okay, so what I see in this world, what I perceive, the whole matrix, everything that we see, the whole, let's see, that whole thing, all of it is just happening down here. All of it. Life and death and our dreams and aspirations and memories and information and gadgets and iPhones, and all of it happens on the bottom layer. This entire simulation works beautifully to sustain us. But we were as dreamers, as the quote by King David says, because we're not perceiving the real system that's all around us, the thing that actually gave birth to our simulation, if you will. Okay? What we're missing is this new perception. We're missing the qualities of the Creator. That's what separates us from this next degree, from the next level. So everything we do within the simulation always keeps us inside the simulation because we're working with our will to receive. We're not acquiring any of the qualities of the spiritual world, these qualities which are the qualities of bestowal. That intention is the key to crossing the barrier, to coming out of the simulation, to waking up from this dream, like Neo. You should know that all the innovations and the cascading of degrees regard, this is from Baal Sulam, regard only the vessel. Oh, I'm sorry, let me bring it to you. No, I'm sorry. There it is. There it is. You should know that all the innovations and the cascading of degrees regard only the vessel and its reception from the upper light. For only that is subject to change and multiplication. However, the light itself is always in complete rest as it expands from His self. Understand that well and remember every single word of it for the rest of the study in this wisdom. That's quite an instruction right there. Because the light is in absolute rest. When we're talking about the light of the Creator, we're talking about a system of absolute unchanging laws. They don't change. You can't appeal to them. You can't pray to them in the way that we're associating prayer. It's like standing in the middle of the street and saying, God, why don't you give me all the money in the world, or make me taller, or nicer, or smarter, or more muscular, or anything. You cannot, because the laws of the system are absolute. They cannot change because you ask them. You can only ask that which the system, the simulation wants you to ask. And that's the difference between the dystopian vision of the simulation as presented in the Matrix and the actual system of the good who does good, that is the system of that the Kabbalists present to us. Let's see. Because, see, this is what the wisdom is all about. This is the definition of the simulation. The wisdom is no more and no less than a sequence of roots that hang down by way of cause and consequence, following fixed, determined laws that interweave into a single exalted goal described as the revelation of His godliness to His creatures in this world. I want to open something up here. Give me a second. Maybe I want to actually read to you from the book of Zohar. No, I'm sorry, from the intro, from the forward to the book of Zohar. Give me a second. And meanwhile, if you have any questions, sorry, focus here. Yeah, if you have any questions so far, please send them in, and I'll try to collect them and answer them. So let me just open that. Let's see. All right. Okay, so I want to read from this introduction. It's going to be a couple of minutes, so bear with me. I know we usually are more dynamic here, but it will give you also time to send in questions, and I'll try to find the document where the questions are in. And you can find this material on our archives in Kabbalamedia.info. So it's the forward to the Book of Zohar. And Baal Sulam writes the following, and see how it's quite amazing actually when you think about it. He writes, why did the authors of the Zohar have to describe all those changes? I'm sorry, not this. Okay, there it is. Indeed, there is a very trenchant secret here. This is the meaning of, and by the hand of the prophets have I used similitudes. The truth is that there is a godly will here, that these similitudes, which operate only in the souls of the receivers, will appear to the souls as he himself participates in them to greatly increase the attainment of the souls. It is like a father who constrains himself to show his little darling child a face of sadness and a face of contentment. Although there is neither sadness nor contentment in him, he only does this to impress his darling child and expand his understanding so as to play with him. It's all a game. It's all a similitude, a simulation of sorts. Only when he grows will he learn to know that all that his father did was no more real than mere playing with him. So is the matter before us. All these images and changes begin and end only with the impression of the souls. Yet by the will of God they appear as though they are in him himself. He does that to enhance and expand the attainment of the souls to the utmost, in accordance with the thought of creation to delight his creatures. This was item 33 from that forward. And then, as if this wasn't enough of a clue as to where we are and how we are built, Baal Sulam goes another step forward and he says, let it not surprise you that you find such a conduct in our corporeal perception too. Now he speaks about our corporeal perception. Take our sense of sight, for example. We see a wide world before us, wondrously filled. But in fact, we see all that only in our own interior. In other words, there is a sort of a photographic machine in our hindbrain which portrays everything that appears to us and nothing outside of us. He has made for us there in our brain a kind of polished mirror that inverts everything seen there so we will see it outside our brain. Okay, it's not even happening outside. We're seeing what's inside of us as a projection in front of our faces. Yet what we see outside of us is not a real thing. Nevertheless, we should be so grateful to his providence for having created that polished mirror in our brains, enabling us to see and perceive everything outside of us. For by this he has given us the power to perceive everything with clear knowledge and attainment, and measure everything from within and from without. And without it, we would lose most of our perception. He continues with it, but I think this gives us a good idea of what he's talking about. So let me take a couple of questions here. I opened the from I hope I'm pronouncing this well. From Yetze the Jager. Yeah, I hope this is true. This is the right name. The question. So the purpose of creation is for creation to realize the Creator. Exactly. It's the purpose of creation by the Creator was to reveal himself, his goodness to the created beings. That's why he created this whole thing, so that we would consciously, independently, by our own will and efforts, not like some animals, but independent, like him, will come to reveal his qualities, his presence, his goodness, which, by the way, doesn't end with that revelation. It's only sort of the Kabbalists even hint at what would happen after that, but we're not even getting there. Okay, so let's see. Question: is the polish mirror our soul? No, in this case, as Baal Sulam writes about, it's simply a mechanism. There's a ton of research on it. Okay, I didn't want to make this already, too technical, more technical than it already is, but they've done a study, and the amount of information that goes from the brain to the eyes is actually greater than the amount that goes from the eye to the brain. You would expect it the other way around, right? Eyes, the windows to the world. We see everything, we perceive it. It comes in, we absorb it, we somehow pass it into our brain, and the brain needs to pass some commands to the eye. Now, look right, look left, constrict, contract, expand. No, more information, more data is coming into the eyes. So very interesting here, right? What's happening to how this description of Baal Sulam, of what Kabbalists found, is that it's all happening here, and this mirror projects reality outside of us. The simulation is happening from within us. We don't need all these wires like in the Matrix. Okay, what we talked about. It's connected directly to our desire. That's the interface, not the protein body. The protein body is the interface of the interface. It's actually the desire. Everything is perceived through the desire. What is bestowal supposed to mean? Okay, that's a great question. We have a ton of classes on it. In brief, we are a will to receive pleasure. The Creator is the will to bestow, to give. He wants to bestow abundance. Think of it as a force that is positive. Okay? Goodness. Okay, we don't need to get too philosophical. Just think of it as a force that wants to give all the good. He created an opposite force, an opposite quality that can receive that good. That is the will to receive. Okay, so the will to receive was created to receive all the abundance, all the good that the Creator wants to give it. That's bestowal, that's reception. However, we cannot receive it as is because it creates a sense of shame in us, sense of disparity of form, oppositeness. He's only giving, I'm only receiving. It's too much. That's why the restriction happened, all the world, all of creation to evolve from that initial creation in order for us to allow us, by our own efforts, to acquire a screen, we call it in Kabbalah Masach, which is the correct intention that allows us to receive in order to give Him pleasure. Like you're having dinner at your mom's, okay, and she cooked some great food for you, and you're not just there to stuff your face, you're there to show, oh my God, Mom, that's exactly what you used to make me when I was 4. I love it, you're the best. And she enjoys this because she sees you enjoy. Okay, that's sort of a crude example of that. Let's see, is our consciousness the sentient aspect of the simulation? It could be, but it's not conscious of it yet. Consciousness is a tricky term. You'll see that in Kabbalah, we don't speak about those words because they're very confusing. Awareness, consciousness, sentience, all those things. We try to keep things more simple, more within grasp, because we can attach fancy words to a lot of experiences. But at the end of the day, I perceive the world, I have a certain awareness of the world, a certain perception, and I make something out of it, right? Using my brain, I arrange all the input that comes in and out. The problem is that I'm experiencing the world through my desire. That's the interface. That's the true sensory mechanism. Okay, what we may call consciousness is actually our desire. Everything is felt there. And then the brain, in the correct state, should only arrange things. What's more important, less important. Not more than that. Instead, we took the brain and made it, the highest thing. You decide, you run our lives, but the brain's like, I don't know, I just arrange things based on what you say is important. So if we say this is important, the brain will work towards it, right? If we say that getting food is important, the brain will work to get us food. If we got food, then we need to start a family. So the brain will help us do that. Then money, then honor, then power, knowledge, right? Everything according to what we say is important. So there is a place there of choice, and the brain follows that. What's the equation of the absolute? That's an abstract question. I'm not sure, but there's one equation, and that is maximum pleasure at minimum effort. Okay, that's what we usually say about the will to receive, and that's the equation of this reality. Okay, you perceive reality through this equation, through maximum pleasure, minimum effort, or minimum pain. Okay, you only see things based on that. If they don't fall into this category, you don't see them, you don't perceive them. They're not even rendered for you. Okay, it's like when my wife was having a baby, when was pregnant, suddenly I started to see pregnant women and baby strollers and diapers. They came into my perception. Were they there before? I can't say. Maybe we can talk about it, right, in loose terms, but the reality is that they weren't in my perception until it started to touch me, my desire. When I realized that I was going to be a father, we'll need strollers and diapers and all those things, that's when my perception started to see, okay, what is better, what is worse? Where can I get the best stroller for the least amount of money? That's where it came into my perception, okay? It became part of my conscious experience, part of my simulation, if you will. Can you read, Timothy, can you write which distinction? Because there's a bit of a delay, so I'm not sure. How to Access the Spiritual Power by Hanish. We're getting to it in a second. If one changes their intention to that of bestowal, does the simulation of reality change for that one? Yes, that's what we're getting to, actually. So let's actually, this is a good, okay, there's a couple more questions. I'll just take them quickly. Who created God? We can't say. Remember, there's a limit. For us, that limit is the mahsom. Even after you cross the mahsom, your limit is what we call atzmuto. Okay, Kabbalists only speak of what they attain. So Kabbalists attain that there's a light that came from a source. What is that source? They cannot say. They can only speak of the light, the force that emanates from him that wants to do good. That's what they attained in their vessels, and that's what they tell us about. What happens beyond that, we have no grasp on it, and we're not talking about it. So you see, Kabbalists are very practical, very pragmatic. A judge has only what his eyes can see. Okay, this is important. You attain something as if you're holding it in your hand, you write about it. Anything beyond it, don't touch. We don't philosophize. Who's the observer? We're going to talk about it. You really think the Creator has a process for speed? Good question. I don't know. Everything is relative to us. Just as in the quote that we read, the light is absolute and is above space, time, and motion. But it appears to us to be appearing in these forms, in these shapes, to have these limitations or those. But it's relative to our vessels. Okay, that's the theory of relativity by Einstein, right? And even quantum theory is still restricted by, the container, the universe, which is still in our perception. So it's all according to the one who perceives. What's happening outside of that, we can't say. We can't even say that something is happening outside. You cannot be certain of this. The only thing you know is what I told you just now, is what scientists with their crude vessels, instruments, are discovering, that there is some sort of a limit. We call it the speed of light. Until you can go past the speed of light, corporeally, you can't even be certain of that. But at least they know, they can talk about it in these terms, because they see it happening in more simpler simulations, right? So they assume it to be true. Kabbalists, who changed their perception, rose to the next level, transcended that limitation of the speed of light. No problem there. So they're already perceiving using new vessels. Let's see what Kabbalists say, because this kind of captures the essence of the whole experience. Look at this. What does the Creator do after he has created the world? The answer was, he sits and plays with a whale. As it's written, this whale you have created to play with. I'm not going to interpret this whole verse. Just to say that whale in Hebrew is Livyatan, from the word levaya, companion. Okay, so when you think of whale, yes, you can think of the greatest living mammal, but you can also think of this great companion that can receive all that the Creator wants to give him, and he's playing with him. It's all a game. It's all a game. So, who am I? Someone was asking here. Who am I in this dream play? Okay, this play, right? As Shakespeare said, it's all a play. So who am I? Am I the writer, the director, the actor, the spectator? Who am I? What do you think? Maybe write a few things in the chat. And again, I know we have a bit of a delay, so by the time I see the answers, I'm already 2 slides ahead. But write it down. We'll take it. I'm interested to see what you guys think. And while you do that, we'll take a clue from nature using the best scientific tool we have developed to date, a cat video. Okay, so bear with me. Let's watch a cat video. There's no sound, so don't worry if you hear me. I hope you can hear me. So you see what's going to stretch. It doesn't matter. You watch the cat video. Okay, that was the cat video. Why did I show you a cat video? Because nature, oh, this is the not stretched version. Nature makes all animals play to reach their next degree of development. So that's what nature does with animals. And sure enough, the player, the actor, this is who we are in this system. Okay, we're not the writer, we're not the director, we're not the cameraman, we're not the spectator. Although some people do feel like in their life that they are spectators, and that is a true notion, because until you wake up beyond a certain level, you do feel a little helpless. Kabbalah makes you realize, take ownership of your true role in the system, in the simulation. Until then, you also play, by the way, right? Because again, nature uses play to develop everything in the system, including humans, right? Oh, you can see oh, this is a better representation. Okay. Look at this, for example. We have, I don't know if I can point to something here. Okay, it doesn't matter. From left to right, right? You see a little child playing with his toy cars. Older child already riding on his little toy car. Still older child is already inside a toy car. He's already playing with the wheel. A bigger child already inside a real car playing with the wheel. Eventually you take driving lessons and you drive a car. Playing is what signals to nature that we have a desire to move to our next degree. That's how nature knows that you're ready. If you don't play, nature doesn't grow you. And we see that with babies as well, right? Why do we, when we observe the development of babies, we're looking to see that they are making efforts by themselves to, I want to play in walking, right? I'm going to play in talking. I'm going to act as if I'm speaking. And I gradually, nature then builds the right wirings in my brain. How it happens, science doesn't know. But Kabbalists tell us there's a force that operates on our efforts. Okay, that's what nature does, and it applies to our spiritual work as well. If we want to meet the maker of the simulation, we need to acquire his qualities, and to do that, we have to play. We have to act, just like the kittens play. Older kittens play hunting and catching a mouse and playing with a mouse and all of that, and nature grows them to be these fierce hunters. Same thing for us. We want to be these loving, open, selfless beings like the Creator. No problem. We need to start acting in this way. And if you think that this is tough, just take a look at what you're already doing. You're already acting so many roles. And I just wrote, I have some roles in my family. I play father. I'm also a child to my mom, brother to my sister. I play cook. I play provider. I play advisor, diaper changer, right? All those things. To my at work, I play employee, colleague, assistant, mentor, other things maybe. In society, I play civilian. Maybe I play a leader. Maybe a participant, maybe a server, someone who serves in different roles in society. Maybe for my friends, I play a listener, maybe buddy, maybe confidant, maybe helper, maybe just a beer buddy for some. All those things I already play, right? Online, how many roles do we have online? I can have the role of a student, the role of I have an avatar that I play, right, which has nothing to do with my real being. I play an anonymous role, a social contributor, an influencer, all those things we're doing. But these are mostly not of our own choice. And not only that, they're all egoistic. That's the problem here. All these roles are egoistic. They follow the same formula: maximum pleasure, minimum pain, minimum effort. That's how we move around. That's why we're stuck in this layer of the simulation. So how do we get to reveal the architect of the simulation? We need to acquire his qualities. This is what Kabbalists call equivalence of form. And we have a saying in Kabbalah, it's called fake it till you make it. So you know this saying, it's not new, but in Kabbalah it has to happen under the right conditions. Okay, so what are the conditions to fake it till you make it? Meaning you can fake it till you make it in pretty much everywhere else and it will work within the context of the will to receive. But how to fake it till you make it to become like the creator? Can I just walk outside and say, hey, I'm the creator, listen to me? No, it doesn't work this way. You need to have an environment that supports this effort. Why? Because each of us here is a little egoist. I'm sorry, hold on. Each one of us here is a little egoist. I'm a little egoist, you're a little egoist. This guy is a slightly bigger egoist, smaller egoist. If we can gather these egoists into one place, we already have a chance. Why? Because by trying to be like the creator, to act like the creator, I'm actually going against my will to receive, against that formula, right? That program, against the matrix. I'm going against the matrix, so the matrix will resist it. In the film, they have these agents, right, that go against Neo. Here, the agent is inside of me. It's called my ego, my will to receive in order to receive. Hey, if it's not serving me, what are you doing? What are you trying to do here? This force will resist my efforts. That's why I need to have a certain environment. In that environment, what we do is we connect. We connect a certain way. Why do we connect? We make efforts to relate to each other like the creator, right? Positively, care about each other in a good way, selflessly, without interest. I'm not getting money from these guys. I'm not getting anything except a chance to bestow like the creator. What happens when we do it? Well, the upper light is right here. Constant rest, right? The creator is just waiting. It's not waiting in the sense that he's waiting, but he's always operating. We can't feel him because we're opposite. Disparity of form means we're not on the same level. But once we begin to connect, we do something interesting. We start to draw that light. Okay? Why? Simple, through equivalence. I'll write it, equivalence of form. That's the mechanism that allows me to draw the light. It works in every area of life. We're not going to get into it. We have a ton of information on it. This is what lets me draw the light, making efforts to be like the creator. And then what happens? Yes, you guessed it. The creator appears in the midst of these efforts, in the middle of these efforts to connect, in this network that we build that's made of bestowal, efforts to bestow. It's quite amazing, and we have to finish, I think. I'll just leave you with this last thing, although there were other things, but the word lesachek, to play, to act, is also similar to the word schok in Hebrew, which means to joke, to laugh. It's all connected in Kabbalah. It's that joy of the acting. It's playing. It's getting into this role of playing with the creator, playing because there is really only the creator, no one else. He's operating this simulation. He's waiting for us to call on him. So how do we rise to the next level? We act according to Kabbalistic principles. We follow the guidance of a teacher. We act like the force of love and bestowal to draw the reforming light. And then the light changes my qualities and I reveal the next degree, which is the creator. We have time for maybe 2 questions before I have a final. I told you about our special subscription plan for Kabbalah, which I will. Interesting. Oh, okay, I see it. Yeah, so I will tell you about it. Well, let's take 2 more minutes for questions. Are we aware when we form the screen? Yes, of course you're aware. It happens consciously. You can't evolve your will involuntarily. You can't evolve your consciousness, if you want to talk about it this way. You can evolve consciousness unconsciously. It happens with our efforts, with our participation. It's all us. It's the highest degree of awareness, if you will. What else? How do you... I can't tell you how to create a golem, but there are plenty of golems around us. You don't need to create them. Are there more systems that God created? No, one is plenty. But if you're talking about, if you mean in other times of our, what we call history, I don't want to get into it. There's right here, right now, we have 6,000 years to finish this, and we can actually finish it now. We don't have to wait the remaining 220 years to do it, because time doesn't exist. Remember, light is above space, time, and motion. It's above that. Only below the speed of light, we are bound by these restrictions. Above it, you can make corrections and advance. Time means the number of corrections you make, the number of states you go through. What is my name? My name is Lio Spiegler. I'm sorry, I thought it was written somewhere in the program. And I also teach in Kabbalah. You can find me there. Why you are on this planet? Well, I hope today's lecture gave you an idea. The Creator wants you to reveal Him. That's why you're woke up here. One finds himself in a battle of thought with someone is not studying the method of Kabbalah. This is considered a game of life. Too complex. Do we need a group to connect, or can we connect just with friends and family? You need a group. You'll need to take more classes for it. Let me tell you about it, why, and that's actually very important. Let me put this thing. There you go. So you need a group. Why? Because you need these efforts to be reciprocal. If you just go out to the streets and start to bestow to people, they'll just do what people do, right? Will to receive, maximum pleasure, minimum pain. Oh, he's giving out money. Give me money. No, you need to be with someone where you can make efforts, small gestures of bestowal, of kindness, of love, and repeat and receive them and react to them and see how they change you inside. This is a very subtle work. This is the advanced work of Kabbalah. So when you join Kabbalah, when you join Kabbalah, the subscription program, what it does is it unlocks all of our hidden secrets, meaning the full unlimited access to all the courses, the learning path, which has 4 courses in 20 weeks, Kabbalah Revealed, Kabbalah Experience, live Q&As, all that. All the materials are available in MP3, MP4. You can download, listen as you go. It's phenomenal. You have the exclusive Zoom session, which happens after this in 1 minute. If you're a student, you get that Zoom session where you get to ask more questions. And you can ask anything in the forum as well. And lastly, you get a 14-day free trial, although I never met anyone who took the trial and then like, no, I'd like my money back and I don't care about waking up and meeting the Creator. Very strange. I don't know of any other goal that's worth having in life than this. And the prices are, as you can see, $15 a month, but if you pay annually, it's down to $9.99. So that's it. There you have it. I know it was fast. I tried to cram a lot into it. If you ask for it, we can do another one. We can go deeper into it. I hope you enjoyed and you learned what is the game of life about, and that this is indeed a simulation of sorts created by the Creator, so you can learn how to act like the Creator, be like Him, and by being like Him to actually reveal Him and reveal the force behind the simulation. So thank you very much. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Let me go back. Let's see. Oh, sorry. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think this is it, and we'll close with our intro. Thank you so much. Have a great night, and I'll see the rest of you who are students on the Zoom.